What's going on, everybody? Anthony Campo here, Chief Coach at Battle Ready Business. And on today's episode, I want to talk to you about taking the blame off yourself, but taking responsibility. So sit back, relax, and I'll see you on the other side. All right. So what I was thinking about what to talk about today, and I think one of the biggest struggles a business owner, entrepreneur, someone getting started or having a business is there's a point at which you start taking things personally and you start blaming yourself for it. This isn't to talk to you about being responsible, because there's a difference. Being responsible for the direction and the results, either good or bad, is all upon you. But blaming yourself is a recipe for disaster. And not just in a negative sense. The results that you produce, either good or bad, if you take responsibility, great. But if you say it's because of me, that's when you become a problem. It's because of you that you made it rain, and that you guys had you and your team had a great run, or had a PR month, or had a great year. And on the other side of that, if things start going the other way, that it's your fault, you're to blame because of the downfall, even though that you can cause stuff, it's a recipe for disaster. And I tell you this because I know from experience. So we were going along. We had just had a great run of 3 years of a great run in business, right? And some things started to shift, and it was like stacking upon stacking upon stacking upon stacking. So we were going along, and a year prior, in one of my other businesses, we had a lawsuit filed against us. I had stepped away and just let that business run and allow my other family members, aka partners, run the business. And so we had that. So for about a year, we were in that process. And then, some life stuff happened where I got married. And that changes the game. Even though that, my wife and I, or my fiance at the time, we had basically been running the business and dating at the same time all the way up until that point. That threw a dynamic. Okay? And then I had a disagreement with a mentor of mine, where we partnered up and on a project, and don't know what's going on there. Sorry about that. Let me exit Skype. I think that's what it was. My bad. So we had a disagreement, and for me, having somebody that I looked up to, that I allowed to guide me throughout 2 or 3 years, that really hurt. And as just as it would anybody. So we kind of went our separate ways. And that I could talk about another scenario. Having this feeling of being on an island alone, it triggered a bunch of things. Okay? But that's a different episode. So that's one. And then we took our honeymoon, and on our honeymoon, we were flying back. We were in our layover, and we got this message that, like, one of our coaches that, staff members, coaches at the time, that was, a good figure in the gym. Like, he took care of all the morning classes. He was a, kind of a community leader. Even though he was like a coach and he was still kind of a gym member and he participated, he was a leader within that community. And he ended up leaving. Like, why? And like saying, I'm not coaching anymore. And that was a big hit to us, because we were like, oh my gosh, like, we're on our honeymoon. How can we deal with this? We decided to say, hey, we took a good honeymoon and all that stuff and all that. So I'm responsible for those situations. That was one of them. And then, we just continued on. And then all of a sudden, Facebook and Google changed their algorithm during that time. And the way that we were marketing and we were doing became less effective, right? And within a month, our phone calls, we tracked everything: phone calls, appointments booked, appointments showed, all that stuff. Like, we tracked it, and then it just went down. So we got hit with that. It's not like we didn't try to pivot. And then we knew that we were about a year left into our lease, and we were looking for other places, right? And we had that challenge to face with us. We had to find a new place to go, because we were about done with the lease, and we weren't sure if the landlord was going to continue with that program. So, and at the same time, like, during that, you know, being married and having that, you know, dynamic, and that's a completely different episode about working with your spouse. You know, everything about our life, our friends, our activities, our social life, our day-to-day, our how we ate, revolved around this business. It was a lifestyle, and it was beautiful, but if you don't manage it, it becomes all that. So, you know, it was like, well, we're married now, and then dynamics changed and all this other stuff. So, you know, we don't want everything to be about it. So everything became changed. So I tried to, you know, I was out there looking for a place. You know, I started educating myself on new marketing tactics and strategies and implementing them. And, you know, I went and got another like coach consultant to kind of give me a different perspective, and tried some things. And it was these series of like trying and not being like, not seeing those tries actually succeed as I've seen them in the past. It was a lot harder. And what I began to do is really like get down on myself, get down on the situation. Like, if I look back, we weren't that bad off. Like, it wasn't that bad. It just was like, prior to that, we had this magic that we would just do things and it would just explode. And, you know, understanding the dynamics of that and all that was just, that shift was different. And I began to take it personally. I began to allow it to erode my passion for what I was doing. And, you know, that led all the way up. And, like, you know, I can't tell you that, you know, everything went, like, beautiful after that. That continued on for, like, a couple years. Until I was just so frustrated and so disheartened, I ended up was like, I'm done. Like, I need to go do something else. Right? So I ended up going and getting a job in that. That's a different story, but what I want to get with you is, you know, realizing that if you take yourself out of that equation, because that was a complete contrast to how I was operating. And if I look back through those times when we were like doing things great, it was very like, you know, it was like somewhat head, somewhat heart, and somewhat faith about going and doing things and enjoying what we're doing. Like, we had people like leave us before or try to like, and back to that, we had a competitor move in that had a lot of money at that time. They dumped $50,000 to $200,000 into their new facility. And we've bootstrapped it from the beginning, starting from a garage. And if we look back, that was another challenge. And if we look back about how we were doing things, it wasn't from a place of scarcity. It wasn't from a place of blame. It wasn't from anything. It was just head, heart, and faith. Like, I'm going to go do this because I can feel that it's the right thing, right? I'm not going to worry about it failing or not. I'm not going to blame myself if it doesn't. I'm responsible. We'll just course correct and go. But this became a spiral for me. And it ended up like me just walking away and being so frustrated that, you know, like I was learning all this new stuff. I was implementing all this other stuff, and none of it was like really taking off. And it was a very frustrating thing. And this is the path of owning your own business. This is the path of like you going down, you stepping out into this world, right? Because it's different. It's absolutely different, right? I didn't leave the company with my mom and my sister, to go do something easy. This was a challenge for me. This was something to go do for me. So my main point is I want you to get across is that don't blame yourself. Like, take responsibility. Just always find the thing that worked and get rid of the rest. Like, that's the process. Like, every day you step up to the plate. Like, you step up, you set your plan, you come out and you go to war and you fight the daily battle that you have. And like 2 things worked out of your 5, right? You got 2 things done out of what the 5 things you wanted to do on a daily basis. And then get rid of the rest. Like just get back up tomorrow, figure out what went wrong, and then get at it again. It's not a blame game. It's a responsibility game. Like, yeah, I'm responsible if I didn't get what I got done yesterday. And just pick yourself up and go back at it again. Because, in my Pop Warner team, we had this saying. And we weren't that good. Like, that's why I always resented the saying. But it means so much. If you listen to it, like, I rejected it back then because we were the crappiest Pop Warner team ever. Like when we first started, it was every day in every way we get a little better. Every day in every way we get a little better. Every day in every way we get a little better. So I just want you to wake up today, go to war on the marketplace, execute your daily battles, and get a little bit better. If you don't know what those terms are, go in the war on the marketplace, daily battles. If you don't have daily battles for yourself set up, head over to, I can help you out with that. That's part of what I conceptualize this battle ready business system is that you and I will establish daily battles for your business, yourself, your team, so that you can go to war in the marketplace and win. If you've got a team of 3 to 20 people and you need a little bit of help right now, head over to balladreadybusiness.com/go. And we'll get that all set up for you. We'll jump on the phone. We'll get it all dialed in. All right? So I look forward to supporting you, and I'll talk to you soon.